Hey, happy Thursday. So glad that you are with us. If you joined in, or I guess if you didn't, on Tuesday, we are talking about worship because we've really not been together since about the 15th or so of March, just shortly after that. And uh, when we think about worship, we think about this. We think about groups of people gathering generally to sing. And now maybe it doesn't look exactly like this. I mean, doesn't look exactly like this, here. We don't have lights, and we definitely don't have a smoke machine. And, you know, we have a music group, but it's not quite like this. Not in, not in substance, or not in style anyway, but it is in substance. We're just a group of people who want to sing songs. And as we sing, we allow the music, or we hope that the music will place us into the presence of God, and that the words of the music in some way communicate something that is in our hearts and in our experience. I mean, that's often where we get into those tense conversations about what songs we should or shouldn't sing, because some of them become the songs in our hearts. They help us understand how we like to communicate about God, how we like to experience God, how we think about God. And for most of us, we tend to gravitate around the songs that were meaningful and popular in our late teens and early 20s, kind of in those periods where we are the most emotive, I guess, for lack of a better word. There are a dozen or so songs that came out, when I was in my late teens and into my early 20s that matter to me. There's something in those lyrics that really stir up a particular set of feelings that make me feel that I am connecting into God in a unique way. But right now, those aren't quite the options we have, not collectively. I've never found singing by myself, listening to recorded music, an act of worship, even if they are using those same handful of songs that are meaningful to me. But still, we're called to worship. So how do we do it? Well, like I said last week, I'll say again, worship really is not about music, or at least not exclusively about music. Music is a tool that aids in worship, but so often when we talk about worshiping God, we really are just talking about music. But worship is not simply music. Worship instead is us encountering God and our response to that encounter. So in Scripture, we find that when people encounter God, sometimes they respond with music. Sometimes they respond with prayer. Sometimes they respond by throwing their bodies onto the ground in almost fear or indefinite fear. Sometimes they respond with deep emotions. Sometimes they respond through a call to action. Send me, says Isaiah. Some compose poetry, like Miriam or David. There are lots of responses. But it is about us encountering God in our daily lives and us responding to that encounter. So this is the activity that I would like you to consider doing for the next few days. Oh yeah, there's a Bible verse. I have a Bible verse to tell you. Ascribe to God, or ascribe to the Lord, the glory due his name. Worship the Lord in the splendor of his holiness. This is one of the ways that the psalmists tell us that we are to ascribe to God the glory due his name. So now, here's the activity. Sit in a place of nature. We talked about nature a couple of weeks back, so this is sort of a recap for that. But sit in a place where you can experience the beauty of nature. Maybe it's your own garden. Maybe you've gone down to a lake or a river. Maybe you're beside the ocean. Maybe you're experiencing the beautiful canopy of stars in the evening. Maybe you're sitting out in a field somewhere. It doesn't matter. Wherever it is most resonant and meaningful to you, where you are encountering God in nature. And place yourself deliberately in the presence of God. That's probably through a moment of stillness, a time of reflexive breathing, a time where you're contemplating who God is, where you are gently and carefully placing aside other thoughts, other concerns, other worries. Whenever I try to do this, my mind almost immediately wanders to what I'm going to eat later. And that's one of those things that I always have to just consciously, carefully, gently set aside for later. But place yourself intentionally in the presence of God. And as you sit there, with nature's beauty around you, with the majesty around you, as that period ends, consider your response. Compose a song, or a poem, or a journal entry. Write a proverb. Draw a picture. Paint a canvas. Maybe you would be like the patriarchs and build a small structure of rocks. Possibilities are really endless. But as you encounter God, find your words. Find your response. You see, when we use other people's music, we really are trying to use their words. Some of them are scriptural, some of them are by the composer. Some of them are poems by someone else. Here's an opportunity to ascribe to God his glory in your own words. You don't have to share them with anybody. You don't have to submit them. You can just tuck them away somewhere. But worship through your words. A prayer, 2 lines that rhyme, 1 line that doesn't. The options are really endless. I'm not artistic, but I know I can do at least some of this. And I'm confident you can as well. That's it for today. As you think about ways to worship, I hope you'll consider trying this out in the next few days. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday for our digital and FM services. Stay safe and God bless.